Just before today's video starts, I would just like to remind all of you that it is not made for kids. It's for adults to enjoy too. So with that said, please enjoy the fucking video. Wow. It's finally happened. The Railway series has now officially turned 80 years old. That is, without a doubt, a big milestone to reach. While it's true we're all familiar with the TV show, we all need to remember that this is where it all began. A collection of stories that were first written for the author's sixth son who had measles, but later evolved into a famous book series. I kid you not, this collection of books is so famous within the Thomas fandom, and I truly love reading them. Heck, I even own the whole collection. And trust me, they weren't easy to find. So, with the Railway series now officially 80, I of course have to make a video to commemorate this occasion. But before we get into the topic of today's video, let's reflect on how the Railway series celebrated in previous years by going all the way back to 1995 with the 50th anniversary. The 50th anniversary brought out a lot of great surprises. Series 4 was airing, the Railway series had reached its 39th book, A Day Out with Thomas was just starting, a book and documentary were made, and even a golden Earl Thomas. Leaping forward 10 years to the 60th anniversary in 2005, we got some interesting features like Calling All Engines, Series 9, live on stage performances, DVD and Railway series compilations, and a huge range of new toys, which will continue growing in the coming years. Then we come to the 65th anniversary and we got Series 14 and Misty Island Rescue.
Done!
Yeah. Now the 70th anniversary had a lot of promise. John Hassler had joined the cast as the new voice for Thomas in the UK. The show was now on its 19th season. We got 2 amazing films, one of which being my favourite, a balloon in the Macy's Parade, live performed concerts, a brand new documentary, YouTube surprises, and loads of special attractions. 2015 went full out. Then we come to the 75th anniversary, which was unusual to say the least. CGI Thomas was on its last season. We got Marvelous Machinery. We got Thomas and the Royal Engine. I certainly liked it. We also got digital albums, a podcast series, special YouTube uploads, and again a huge range of toys. But now we've come to this year with the 80th anniversary. And so far, Mattel is showing good signs of promise, for once. But I want to direct today's special video to something that has just recently been shared to the world. So 3 days ago, on May 9th, I woke up as usual and I turned on YouTube. And I kid you not, I came across this.
Now, it's been 80 years since Thomas the Tank Engine and his friends first appeared in children's books before their runaway success on screen.
To mark the anniversary, a previously unseen episode of the television series, narrated by Ringo Starr, has been brought back to life. Our reporter Graham Satchell has been taking a look.
The instant this video ended, this was my reaction. And that's what today's video is going to be about. I am still in a state of shock that the 1983 pilot of Thomas the Tank Engine has finally been shared with the public. And boy, let me tell you, the entire fandom went absolutely crazy with this. And so did I. This is something we've all been dying to see, and now we finally got it. So the pilot episode of Thomas is the story Down the Mine, first shown in the Railway series book, Gordon the Big Engine. So expect a lot of comparisons between this and the actual episode. Let me start by talking about the camera angles because they truly stood out to me. Now it's no surprise that Thomas has had a great selection of camera angles, ranging from tracking shots, wheel turnings, front and backing shots, etc. But this pilot truly played around with camera angles. Let's take the beginning scene with Thomas and Gordon for example. Notice how in the final episode, the camera stays in this one shot while Thomas is puffing away.
Before Gordon could answer, Thomas puffed away. Annie and Clarabelle could hardly believe their ears.
But in the original pilot, the camera jumps from Thomas leaving to a behind shot of Clarabelle and back to the first angle when Thomas was leaving. I assume the reason they decreased the number of camera shots was to make it easier for the viewers watching the engines move. Because, I'm gonna be honest, the camera cutting back and forth can be quite distracting. But again, this was only the pilot, so they were just starting out. Despite the models of the characters, particularly Annie and Clarabelle, looking the same to the final cut of Season 1, there are some noticeable differences that make them stand out. Thomas's original model wasn't as different, but I noticed that his eye pupils were slightly smaller than his final layout. Just look at the way he looks at the camera in this shot.
Hi, how are you?
But there was one detail about Thomas that was completely different here. And it was this. Yep, his whistle. I kid you not when I say this. When I heard this whistle, I literally jumped out of my chair. That sounds entirely different to his iconic whistle we all know. Now let's talk about Gordon's model, which honestly is one of the biggest highlights for me. I was completely taken aback when I saw Gordon with a different grumpy face. Just look at it! He looks so pissed. His smiling expression is quite different to his actual face too, and honestly, I think I like this Gordon face better than his actual face prop. I'm not joking, the pilot did certain things way better than the actual episode. And one of those things was the crash scene. So we all know Thomas goes past the danger sign and falls into the mine. But here, they actually build up the tension to the crash by showing the mine collapse as Thomas draws closer. Something that was not in the final cut.
Come back, yelled his driver. Stupid old boat, said Thomas. There's no danger, there's no danger. Look out, shouted his driver. Come back.
Not even a week released, and this crash is my highlight of this pilot. It was handled so much better than the actual episode, and looked exactly like the Railway series telling of the story. Some other details I loved in this pilot were hearing Ringo Starr's early narration. While some recordings were included in the episode itself, there were also new pieces of early recordings that we've never heard before, which I found interesting to hear.
I'm in disgrace, Gordon went on pathetically. I feel very low.
But I think the biggest surprise in the 1983 Thomas pilot was when Ian McHugh publicly said this.
So I sort of decided I didn't want to bring in any old composer to just put some music on the pilot. So we actually reached out to Mike O'Donnell, who was one of the original co-composers, you know, the classic theme that everyone knows and loves. And Mike was only too happy to come in and give us a really nice bespoke score, and it really just came together really well. We're very proud.
Yep. Mike O'Donnell, the original composer of Thomas, came back to create new music for this fully restored pilot. And oh my god, this man has not lost his touch. It felt so satisfying to hear his music again. And huge applause for the Britt Allcroft tribute at the end. She would have been so proud of this. May she rest in peace. So yeah, I think I rambled on long enough to show you that I truly enjoyed watching the 1983 pilot of Thomas for the very first time. The fact they chose to release it for the 80th anniversary was such a perfect time. And let me tell you, it was truly worth waiting for. Such a great piece of Thomas history.